Maintenance Man here at Mr. Dog Poop Studios. Today we're talking about dollies. A lot of you have been asking us about this dolly that I built for Mr. Dog Poop for under $200. Everybody wants to know how to build it. Well, we don't have time to go through an entire build, but I am going to show you how it works, give you information about where we got the parts, compare it with the other dollies, and hopefully at the end of the day, you'll be able to go in your garage and build one of these for yourself. First, I want to talk about why we use a dolly. When we use a dolly, someone can sit here and operate a camera, and someone else can push. Now, for the camera operator, it's very simple to sit and operate the camera. If you're using a Dana dolly, you have to push the dolly and worry about your motion as well as aiming and focusing the camera. So we have dollies on wheels that can be moved around, go up and down, and those are great. But at times, the cameraman needs to be pushed so he can concentrate on the shot and focusing the shot as we're moving. So this is a four-wheel steering dolly, and as you can see, as I turn this handle, all the wheels move. We set this up to do two-wheel and four-wheel, and I'll show you how we break that down. We take out the steering bar and then make the other axle solid. But right now it's set up in four-wheel steering so that we can do better arcs. This is a crab dolly. So this can do a steering mode, or we can roll it, and then we can go into crab mode and actually go sideways and vertical ways or whatever we want in crab mode, which is extremely useful. And again, put it back in steering mode and we can steer it and go in an arc or whatever direction we want. We did a full video on this, so if you want to see that, check out our video on how we built that crab dolly. It's pretty extensive and probably not the easiest DIY project. This one's a little bit easier, and you can see we can turn this, move it around, and can we get a video guy to sit on here and we can push it around? So now the camera guy can move around. Okay, so he's using his where's your phone camera?
Oh, it's over there.
Yeah, whatever. So, so we can push him back and forth, and we can get that cinematic motion that we want in the scene if he's not spinning around and doing stupid things. Get off of it. We made these axles are actually mobility scooters. So their axle is the front steering axle from one of those carts that the old people drive around. Mr. Dog Poop will be using in a couple years. So this was manufactured in the 1990s by Los Mandy. We have a bunch of their equipment. This one is two and four-wheel steering. It's mainly meant to be pulled and not necessarily pushed. It can go into four-wheel steering mode. It's a professional dolly. Dollies of this caliber, you're probably looking at $10,000 to $20,000 to get. So $200, $10,000, big difference. This one's a little bit older. We're going to do some restoration on it. We have track wheels for it, but this is a very nice dolly. And you can see it has a really solid Mitchell mount in the center, a seat that the person can sit on, which actually holds people. The other one was tipping. You're probably not going to tip this one even if you are moving around. And I want to show the steering on this because it's going to be the same as when we build one. Basically, we have a piece that comes out, goes to two tie rods right through here, and then off of the wheels, and those wheels turn. It has some bumpers here, right here, so that it can't hit over there. Those will hit the thing. You see how, this thing really makes a tight turn. Our homemade dolly won't because of the way we set it up, but this thing can literally spin on a dime. This actually has a steering bar and a pin that goes in that can then turn these wheels, but we have these wheels locked right now so that we have two-wheel steering. And then we have a push bar on here that we can push it back and forth. Okay, so for the expensive parts, the seat riser, the pedestal, spinner, and the bazooka. We use these because we used it on that one, we use it on some other stuff, and these come in different lengths. They attach on a Euro mount or an LMAC mount. So we can adjust that size. We have some that are adjustable, we have some that are solid. But this is about $300 for the base, $100 for this piece. A riser like this is probably $100, another $75 to $100 for the seat and this piece. So this part gets expensive, but most people just put a tripod on it and maybe a stool and then push it along. We wanted something that was long and stable. We made it a lot longer than it probably should have been, but it worked out. Now the bottom, this butcher block bottom, was actually the cutout from a sink. So this is a countertop, and we put a sink down in it and cut. This was left over, so we stuck it in storage, and eventually we used it for this. Wheels from mobility scooters, and that is similar to this. Now these are a little bit smaller. So these wheels are about 6 inches top to bottom, and these wheels about 8 inches. Now we went a little bit high on this because we wanted to get up over the steering assembly, and we put steering on both sides so we could move the steering to the other side. These pieces are just little pipes that I welded on, and this is just structural pipe from Home Depot or Lowe's with these connectors. So the grips are bicycle grips. The pipe is 3/4 inch structural pipe that we use all over. We use it in the ceiling to hang our lights. We built our clothing rack out of it, out of heavier stuff, and it just has set screws and you put it together. So we use that for both this steering and this push bar piece, which just goes to the frame. Now, over here, I just used the U-bolt through it was just a U-bolt setup, and just put it on there so that this could move in it. So there's no bearing or anything on the top. Now, if I take this bolt out, this will actually slide down. You see, this is on a pivot. So I can bring this down, and the same as the Losmandy that I showed you, where you can pull it down, pull it, and steer it. So the nice thing about these axles is all the engineering's been done, right? They have bearings in here, they have bearings in the wheels, they move back and forth, and they come with tie rods that are already set up for steering. I looked on eBay today, and there are some available, but they're about $35 an axle without the wheels. The wheels are another $30. You're looking at $100 for axles, and you need to really contact the sellers. Make sure you get these pieces so that it makes your life easy, and you can just put those together. So now you've got these, and you can connect those together, and then you can steer it. This was the end of the counter. So this is another piece, heavy piece of butcher block that was just left over. I wrapped it up in plastic, put it out in storage, and figure eventually we'll use it. Now, I'm thinking we can bolt this through these two holes, drill those, and bolt it right to it. We'll have to cut out curves here so that the wheels can turn, but we could bolt this directly to it, and we have a flat surface with 4 wheels, which is pretty simple. These are really small, but we wanted to make a small dolly, and we just haven't done it yet. But they work the same way as the other pieces, and we'll start going over, I want to start going over that and showing you how we put it together. Okay, you see, it's super simple. We just had 2 bars across here. We put 1 piece of metal here so that we would have something to bolt this to. The top pieces are bolted through here, and you'll see 1 screw was screwed up because we didn't have enough space to put a nut on it. Yeah, you know, you build something from scratch, everything's not going to be perfect. The way the steering works is just a piece of pipe. We welded a nut on each end and then put a rod end that screws in. So we can actually take this apart and adjust the length of it so we can get the steering right. You'll see the tie rods that come in here, we just drilled 2 holes and then have a piece coming in here, this L-shaped, which is the same as the Los Mandy. Now in order to steer it, we attached a piece here. This was all welded with aluminum just because we had it, and I like working with aluminum, but it could be done with steel. The length here, about 4 inches between the pivot point and the bolt. If this goes longer, that doesn't matter. It's really this distance, and it's going to be exactly the same on the other side. You'll see this side cross over to that side. That way, when we turn the wheels this way, those wheels turn that way, so it's opposite. If we wanted them to, if we ran it to the same side, when we turn these, those would turn in the same direction. You wouldn't be able to push it. So that's how you do the 4-wheel steering. What we did here was we made this removable. Take that out, and then here the bolt goes into a piece which we welded on, and that would make it solid. So now when we take this off, we're only going to be able to move the 2 wheels. So we have 2-wheel and 4-wheel steering capabilities. And that was pretty simple. I mean, we just welded a tab on there with a hole in it, and then drilled through the top to this to make that hole line up with it. And then we put a bolt in there. It can't do anything, and when we tighten it up, it's really tight. Instead of using a regular small nut, we use a coupling nut, and you can get these in different lengths. So this is a 3/8 coupling nut. It's just the same as a regular nut. It's just longer, and it gives us the ability to put it in there or even have it sticking out. And if you're not a good welder, you can still attach that. You can just weld that in there, and that gives you your rod. Pipe, coupling nut, and a rod end. Now the rod ends come in right and left hand threaded, in case you want to do that, but you don't need that. Regular ones are fine. These are a lot larger. You don't need anything this big. You can also get these cones. These cones are smaller, so it would allow you to have more movement. We don't really need it with this, so we didn't use the cones. But you can get those if you want to, and that gives you more movement in this direction. We didn't really need it, so we just went with the straight nut on it. So the crossbars, not complicated, not difficult. You can go on Amazon and you can buy coupling nuts to put in there and then just tack weld them together. Again, this piece comes up, goes around. We put 2 tabs with something that we found. You could just use tabs. You could use a straight piece. It doesn't have to be rounded like that. This one had bearings in it, so we attached that to the axle, and that way we have a bearing surface for it to turn on. And you can see this, we welded a straight piece on the bottom so that we can put a bolt through it, and that is attached to the handle on the top that turns. So I'm going to take it apart so I can show you the main steering piece. And you'll see there's some washers in here. But I take this out. You can now see what we did here with the 2 bearings. The tab that we welded on, kind of last minute, didn't even get painted to hold it in place. It was an afterthought. How do we make it 2-wheel steering? So this is the steering piece. And obviously, pause the video if you want to see how it's done. But this is just flat pieces. You could use steel, flat pieces, welded at a 90-degree angle, and then coming up to whatever length this piece is going to be. And you could just take a pipe, like these pieces up here, and weld it here and stick a bolt through it. So you don't have to have anything this fancy. just a pipe. If you can find something with bearings, great. But you don't have to come out that far. You could just put a pipe right there and then use your steering piece on there. And this is just hacked together. I mean, you can see those welds, and the stuff is just not the best workmanship in the world. Nothing I'm proud of, but it does the job. And it was an experiment to see if it was going to work. We didn't really know. There we go. And you see, we didn't even have a bolt in there holding it because we didn't need it. So all we have to do is go back, put these in, and these are also adjustable, so you can get your steering right, because if they're the wrong length, you might have one wheel steering different than another, so you need the wheels parallel. Those are both tight, and putting this back on, and you can see we have this just hand tight so that we can adjust it in real time. What did I do? I made it too squeaky now. Lesson number 1, when it's working, don't take it back apart. Well, we got some squeaking. We'll have to figure out what's squeaking over there. But that's the basic idea. The axles are just axles. We spaced it up high enough, 2 bars across, nothing sophisticated. You can buy go-kart axles, or you can buy something like this, which I like, and I prefer these wheels because they're solid and you're not chasing them with air. Oh look, this is even loose. So these wheels come off. And you can see they're plastic wheels. If you get go-kart wheels, they're gonna be better, but these work. And the axles have bearings in here. They have nice tie rod ends with ball joints. So you don't have to do a lot of work on the engineering and the spacing. And again, a lot of this stuff is just hand tight because we're always adjusting it. So we made this so that we could move the handles from this side to that side, but I don't know why you would, unless you're just pushing into a shot and then you need to move the handles, which is a pain in the ass, over to that side. It didn't really make any sense to me, but we did 4-wheel steering, so we had a steering thing there anyway. If we didn't want to put the steering here, we just wouldn't add these. So we have that tab from the back side right here, and that's how we locked it into 2-wheel steering and took off on the bottom. If I drop a bolt in here, now I've locked all the steering. So if I tighten that up, I can actually go straight and keep a straight track, because now I've locked it solid into a straight position, which is also a nice feature, something nice to have. And it's simple. One of the issues I have with this one is I made it long. You should make it a little bit shorter, because as we turn, when we draw a round arc, in order for this to move, if we go, this can turn tighter, then I can push it. So if we wanted it to actually turn tighter, we need to bring those wheels into the same circle with these wheels. So if you were to create a 360-degree arc, it would be much shorter here, and then we'd be able to turn that circle. I think that's about it. It's about a basic overview of the dolly that we built. We are going to do a build. I promise you we are going to do a build. We are going to get axles, and we're going to build one from scratch, and we're going to do it right. We're going to show you how to build something for a couple $100s that will rival the $1,000, $7,000 units. But for today, that's all we got. As we're going through a scene, he can aim the camera and concentrate on camera. So he can sit there. Nice.